Break this entire deer down with this little knife right here. I'm gonna show you how. Hey y'all, welcome to the Robert A. Harris and Lone Star Elite Outdoors. Hey everybody, welcome to Lone Star Elite Outdoors. This is Robert Harris. Figured I would do a little skinning video, show you how I skin deer, break down the carcass and everything. We're gonna walk through this. Even though this is a doe, I'm gonna show y'all how to skin it if it was a buck. If you want to do a shoulder mount, I'm gonna show you how to cut and everything. So we'll get to it. Okay. All right. So first thing I do after I got them hung up is I start right here on the legs and I just come down in a line. Doesn't matter. Just right underneath the skin. You always want to cut from under the skin out, not through this way. If you cut through this way, you're cutting the hair. If you cut the other way, you're not going to cut any hair. The hair will just fold out of the way. So first thing I do is I cut the back legs. And then like I said, if this was a buck and we're going to do a shoulder mount, at this point I would raise it up and start on the knee joint of the front leg and on this hairline, this brown and white hairline right here. And you're going to start right there and just run your knife right up it, staying right on it over the knuckle of the shoulder, all the way up, keeping all the white hair on the brisket side. You want to make sure all this white hair stays there. When you get up past the armpit right here, then you can take and turn your knife and just cut straight across like this. This is where, right here at this line, is where you're going to ring all the way around for the shoulder mount on a buck. So, or a doe, if you want to mount a doe. People mount does all the time. But anyway, so I do that, and then I take my knife here, and like I say, just staying right underneath the skin. All the way through to there. So now I've got it split everywhere. So then I start here. Get a hold of it, start peeling back, and just let the knife do the work. This is the only knife that I use, is this little 4-inch Victorinox knife. There'll be a link in the description for these. It's an affiliate link for an Amazon purchase. If y'all want some of these knives, they're really easy to keep sharp, and I've skinned everything from deer to big old hogs with shields to nilgai to water buffalo. You can go watch that video up here. I'll link that video in, water buffalo that I shot with my bow. And even when I went to Africa, I took some of these knives with me over there and I skinned everything in Africa with these knives. There's nothing you can't do with this little knife. So very seldom do I ever use a bigger knife. And when I'm doing a deer, you'll notice I use this knife for everything. I never use a saw. I never use a pair of loppers or anything. I break this entire deer down with this little knife right here. I'm going to show you how. So just come around here and then bring your legs around the back side like that. Pull this down a little bit so y'all can see. And I just get a hold of the skin and pull it forward so that I can see the skin and I can see the meat. And that's the line you're going to just run that knife down real gently. But see, it's so sharp I done cut a hole. So you got to be careful with these little knives. They can be so sharp. But doing it this way, you get very, very little hair on the meat. You're always going to have some, but very little. So Rosie, she doesn't like that. She don't like that winch. Rosebud, it's okay. It's okay. This little bit of meat right here is so thin, I normally don't even worry about trying to save it off of the skin. Right here on this, right inside the hind leg right here on this hind quarter, there's a gland up inside of here. Right here, it's a little bitty dark spot. You probably can't see it on the camera, but there's a little bitty dark spot right there. There's a gland. So I always take and just trim that out. Go ahead and get rid of it first. But there's that gland right there. It's up inside there. You don't want that. You don't want it tainting the meat or anything, so try not to cut it. Come around to the back side, do some more work back here. Because this knife is so small and thin and sharp, I'm not having to put any pressure with the knife. I'm literally just pulling on the skin and just dragging that knife slightly across that seam right there. See how easy it is? If you do want to keep that meat with this little knife, you can just run that knife right along that edge of that meat, and then it'll all stay on the carcass if you want to keep it. Rosie, are you trying to eat that deer's foot? Another tip that I'd like to give y'all is, you know, it's nice to have friends and everybody wants to help stuff. When it comes to skinning something, only one knife needs to be working on that deer at a time. I actually cut one of my cousins one time pretty bad because he wanted to help me skin a deer, and it's just not worth it. So one at a time, you know, get your friends to drink a beer for you or hold a flashlight or whatever. One knife at a time when you're skinning something. Get to right here. Now I'm down to the anus and the base of the tail. So you just cut through that. Your hand up in there where you can get a hold of it, pull it back. Get down. I feel that tailbone right there, so I'm just going to get a hold of the tail, pull it down. Find the A joint in the tail. Tail comes right off. Now we're almost to the point. You get it all the way off of this hind quarter right here. When you've got it down where you're below the tail and almost to the hind quarter, you can lift it up at this point. Get a hold of that tail and just pull it on down. So when we get around over here on the brisket area stuff, I just get a hold to one side. I'm right-handed, so works to my advantage like this. Just same thing, just pull and run that knife right along that seam right there where the meat meets the skin, and work your way all the way across. Now that I've made a pocket over here, then I just take my knife and just cut that skin off of that leg like that. Up a little higher. I like to work up here at eye level where I can see what I'm doing more so than I don't have to get down on the ground, so the higher you can go, the better. You know, and on a doe, if you want to go ahead and split it all the way down to her chin, make this easier, you can do that, no problem. You know, I'm doing this one as if it was a buck and as if we were going to mount it. So, But whatever's easier for you as far as that goes. This is a lot easier on a buck because their neck is so much bigger. These little does, their neck's not all that big, so this isn't as easy to do on a doe to get all the way down, because we're going to get all the way down to about right here, that last joint on the where the skull is on the neck, and I'll show you how to find that joint and how to take care of it, take this head off. If you want to be really precision with your cuts, hold that knife like you do a pencil and stuff, so you can control the tip of that knife. You know exactly where it's at. And you know, one thing to do with a knife, especially one of these little ones like this, is if you'll learn how to feel with your blade of your knife, then you'll know where it's at all times. All right, so we're all the way down here. On a buck, there's a V. You can kind of see it right here, but you can kind of feel the back of her skull is right there. So I'm going to go in right there and I'm going to make my cut across there. Okay. And you can kind of feel the vertebra and feel where it's at. Got to go underneath that one. But here's a bone right here, and I can feel it with my knife. So right underneath that last bone right there in the neck stuff, if you come across right underneath it, you just peel it down, then you can feel that head right there. Cut through all of this, esophagus, and everything. And I can see this is the back on the bone on the skull right there. So I'm already halfway through it, and now I'm done. I'm through, just like that. Pretty easy. Pretty easy. So we do all of ours. It doesn't matter if they're field dressed or not. We do all of ours being not field dressed, because we've got this to do them and the ice machine and everything right here, so we don't have to field dress them. If you're traveling a long ways, you want to field dress them, pack some ice in the chest cavity, wrap them up, in something to keep them cool on the drive or whatever. You got to do what you got to do to preserve the meat. So anyway, so we got that done. My next thing that I'll do is I don't cut these legs off right here yet. What we're going to do, see if I can turn this around where y'all can see. Rosie, it's okay. It's okay. Hey, it's okay. So I always start on my left, and I pull it away from the body like that. Take that knife and just run it like this. Again, like we had a gland right here. You can see that gland's right there. I haven't cut that one out yet. When you pull this shoulder back, there's a gland right there. Okay, so you want to cut up in here like this and cut around and leave that gland hanging there so you can get rid of it later. So, and you're just gonna pull that shoulder off just like that. So if we walk over here to the ice chest, open the ice chest, and we're gonna lay, if that'll stay open, you have to hold that open. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is we're gonna keep the shank meat, because we're just gonna make hamburger out of most of it probably. So I cut the shank off, top part of the shank anyway. Cut that off. Then I come in here on the shoulder side of the knee, or of the knuckle. This is the knee, this is the shoulder knuckle. On the shoulder side of that knuckle, come down, get that little piece of meat right there, and right here in the middle, if you cut it, it just falls open like that. You're using the ice chest as leverage. That way it'll fall over the edge of the ice chest. And then you can just follow that bone around, and that shoulder comes right off, and you got a clean leg. All with that little paring knife. I'm gonna go ahead and take this gland off right here, get rid of it. And we're gonna pull the other shoulder out. Deer was shot through that shoulder. So that gland is right here. It's up in behind all this meat and stuff, all this blood. I'm gonna let that hang there real quick. I'm just gonna get this little piece of meat right here. This is where that gland is. So we get rid of that. So then we just finish taking that shoulder off. Throw it over the edge of the ice chest. Again, we're gonna take our shank. We're gonna come in. If I can get a hold of it, it's kind of slick. We're just gonna work that little muscle off right there. I'm gonna detach that muscle, come in on this side. There again, just kind of lean it over. Cut kind of back here on the back side. There's the knuckle right there. Cut through there. Walks right through there, no problem. Everything's off. So then what I do at this point, I lower it back down. I'm gonna take this gland off right here on this side, make sure we got it out of our way. Rosebud. All right, so I got that barking dog put back in the house. So anyway, just kind of trimming off, you know, those stuff. And then what I do is I come in right here where it meets the pelvis, where the belly skin meets the pelvis, and I just kind of cut very slightly through that because the bladder's right there. So you want to be real careful. So I cut that a little bit like that. That's the bladder right there. So if it was full, you really want to be careful. So then I take my hand and I put it like this, and I insert the tip of the knife in there, and I walk it down real slow, keeping my hand between the intestines and the inside of the chest cavity there, and I run it all the way down until I get to that breastbone right there. So now that I'm there, I come back in here, and I come across, and I'm gonna pull this meat right down the edge of that back strap right there. I'm gonna pull it all the way down until I get to that rib, both sides. We're running out of light. She got a lot of fat in there, look at that. So now I got that down to that bone on that side. So now I can come in here, and this is where if your bladder was full, you would want to really be real careful and kind of pinch it off and cut around it. This deer's bladder is empty, so that's a good thing. You just kind of cut around, stick your knife up in there, cut around both sides like that. I always reach up in there and get a hold to the poop chute, and I want to squeeze any back down into that intestine there or whatever. And I reach up in there and I just cut everything off. Let it fall all the way down to the deal. Let it fall all the way down in there. And then you're going to come in here and you're going to cut down on the back side. Here's your tenderloins right here. Down on the back side. We're going to ring that. I'm going to ring this side. Everything's going to want to fall right out into that bucket down there. So I'm just following the spine down with my knife. We've got a lot of blood clots up in this chest cavity. Pull those out. I'm going to reach down in there with my knife. And I'm going to cut everything from the heart and everything loose. That's the heart, shot right through the heart. A good shot. Normally we would save a heart, add it into the hamburger meat. This heart we're going to save and add it to our catfish meat. So that's what we're going to do with this. Anyway, we could save a deer liver and all that stuff too if we wanted. Makes pretty good catfish bait. I set a lot of lines out in the spring. I'll be bringing y'all videos on that. When you're trying to just catch dinner, you know, you're not trying to catch big monster catfish. It doesn't really matter what you use for bait. Catfish are going to eat. So we're going to cut that out. We got the liver now. We can save for catfish bait. Pull all this stuff out of here. Trim this meat off right there. All your guts are in the bucket. You're good to go. Now what I like to do is next, I like to take the tenderloins out. So I'm gonna trim this little bit of fat right here off. Both sides, there's a bunch of little bitty glands and stuff. Don't worry too much about them, just get them off. They're all in that fat. It's all around the tenderloins. Trim all that off. There's another little piece of a gland there. Get rid of that. I come in at the top up here where about the middle of the pelvic opening right here. Make a cut there, make a cut there on that side. That cuts the top of the tenderloin off. It's easier to do the tenderloin from the outside, so I just kind of pull it and I kind of separate it from the hindquarter right there. And you come down here and you can feel one of the short vertebrae right there, stuff. So you want to be on the inside of that. So starting up here at the top, I just kind of have my finger in there holding it. I come right in here, pull that loose, get it started, and then you can take and peel that tenderloin right out of there like that. And you got a tenderloin. Let's turn this light on. Maybe help a little. There we go. Put a little light on the subject. Same thing on the other side. Just come up in here, find where it's at. Cut from the inside. You can kind of see where it goes right here. So I always cut mine from the outside in. This side's a little awkward for me because being right-handed, but trim it up a little bit now. You don't have to trim it up later. It's easier to trim when it's fresh than it is when it's cold. Whether you hang them in a cooler or put them in an ice chest, totally up to you. That's a big debate. I prefer to put mine in an ice chest. You can jump onto me if you want. It's just how I've been doing it for forever and ever, so that's what we do. So both tenderloins are out now. So now I'll move around, and what I like to do is I like to look right here, and I can see the edge of my back strap is right here. So I'll just take and make a cut right there like that. I'll come in right here, make a cut around there. I'm just cutting down to the bone. I come in right on the back side of the outside, top side, whatever you want to say, of the little ribs or short ribs or whatever they're called and stuff right here. And you just kind of want to follow that down, peeling that back strap out of there like that. And you do that all the way down till it gets to the neck. And you just keep going all the way around. Now your spinal column sticking out that way. You got little short ribs sticking out this way and spinal column sticking out that way. So now you just want to cut right along the edge there, and basically down the back. Peel that back strap out of there. In the ice chest. Around on this side. Make your cut around. Come over here on the inside. Follow them bones. The back strap just peel right out of there. I'm just kind of cutting in a circle motion like that. around that back strap, all the way down to the neck. So then, because like I say, we mix brisket fat stuff with deer meat to make our hamburger meat. If you're not doing that, you're losing out. If you want to make sausage or whatever, you want as much meat as possible. We're not going to go as far as when a buddy of mine, Eddie, he cuts all the meat out between the ribs and he scrapes every little piece of meat. I told him, I said, Eddie, I said, damn boy, the buzzards need to eat too, you know? So anyway, we're gonna get a bunch of it. I'm gonna go up a little bit. Get a little higher, make it easier to do. We'll get to the shot place, we'll go right around it where it was shot. Got a flap of skin, flap of meat. Put that in there. A little more ice. Always lay, if you're using ice, always layer your meat in the ice. Put a layer of ice down first. Don't put your meat on the bottom of the ice chest, because it's going to get rotten on the bottom of that ice chest. Put your layer of ice, then your meat, and just keep layering it. And that way you got all your meat cold all the time. Right around the back of the back rib right there to the front. Come right down the front. I kind of do this one backwards because it just works better for me. But I'm just following the bones of the ribs with my knife, making sure that I get, you know, as much meat off of there as I can. Till I get to under there. The necks are not easy. It doesn't matter what you do, necks are not easy. Come right down the side, you can see the spinal column or spinal cord right there. Right down the side there, following the bone. Kind of trim all that out so you get it. And I'm just feeling them bones with my knife and just kind of going around them, getting as much of it off as I can. Go around the esophagus there, go to the other side. It's just the same thing, just going the other way. And like I said, on a big buck, there's a lot of meat on the neck. These does don't have a whole lot, but you know, they make chili or hamburger or sausage or whatever, so it is worth getting. I've already cut it loose from the esophagus and everything, so get down on this side, and then you can see if I can turn it here, you can see the esophagus right there. Just cut it off right below it, you're done. So this is where most people would get a saw or whatever. If you want to keep the ribs, yeah, you need a saw or I wouldn't use a saw. I would use a meat cleaver. You know, a big knife. You can split this down, split this down here on the breastbone. Take a meat cleaver and go right in there, and you can just chop, cut them ribs right off. On a pig, we'll do a pig another time, but on a pig, you can use a heavy duty knife and go in there, and you can literally just, if you find the right joint, you can literally just push that knife all the way through all those joints right there along that spine on a pig. Can't do that on a deer. So what I do at this point, let's see if I can find it here and I can show y'all. The last bone right here, this little white bone right here on this, going into the pelvic canal there or whatever, you put your knife, just stab your knife into it like that. Cut both directions, okay? Going to cut both directions. See how my knife kind of came out? Now it wants to turn down. So you're going to cut right down until it comes out right there. And this away, knife turned down, cut out right there. Okay? Now, cut me a hand hold. I'm going to let it down just a little bit and get some more leverage. You can take on the back side, you can take, well, you don't have to. And then you just take the neck right here and hold your hand right here, pick that up, boom, it broke. Now you can come back in here and you can just stay between the bones. And that came right off, just like that. And you can do it by leaving the guts and everything in the deer. You can do it the same way, doesn't matter. So it's just heavier when you try to do that. So here, a lot of people want to just cut all this in half. I don't like that because of how I process deer. I don't want this whole pelvic bone and everything in there. So I'm gonna show you how the easy way to take it off with this 4-inch paring knife. So you come right down the middle right here, cut it all the way down. And then on the inside, you're gonna cut both directions, okay? Following the bone with your knife, okay? Right along to about the top, right underneath the top edge of the pelvic canal, come in here, and there's a, if you can see that, there's a joint right there. You come right into that joint right there. Like I said, I come in and just start to cut on both sides. Then what I do is I take one side off and let it hang like that. Okay? I'll come in here. Now see that ball joint's exposed right there because I nicked it a while ago. So by leaning it down, you're going to see it better. So you're going to come in here and you're just going to cut the top of it. Take your knife, follow your bone around on the back. Holding on to where you had the hook, just holding on to that so you don't drop it. Take your knife and just follow that bone around just like that. And it comes right off. Now here's another trick I want to show everybody. What I do at this point, I throw it up in the ice chest. So I'm just going to cut that off right there. And then I'm going to wring this bottom shank right here a little bit. I'm going to roll it over. So I've got the inside of the leg. On the inside of the leg right here, I'm going to take my knife and I'm going to follow this bone right here on this muscle around here a little bit. So because I'm keeping the shanks. Same thing on the back side right here. I'm going to follow that bone down a little bit. Go to this side. Kind of just filleting that meat off of that bone just a little bit. So you get it down like that. Now look, see this long flat spot right here? About 1/3 of the way up, there's a joint. Okay? So I'm going to take my knife and I'm going to cut right there, about 1/3 of the way up, 1/4 to 1/3. You'll find that joint. You stick your knife in that joint and you just cut around it, twist around a little bit, lay it over, cut the back side of it like so. And that leg will come right off just like that with a 4-inch paring knife. No problem. No need for a saw, no need for loppers, any of that kind of stuff. So over here, back on the other one, we're going to leave it hanging by that one leg. And we're going to do the same thing, except we're just going to pull the pelvic bone out. So we're just going to follow that around like that, pulling down. Let me see if I can get a little higher, maybe we can see better. Right up inside that joint, you got that ball joint right out of there. There's that socket, a ball socket right there for that ball joint. All you do, just follow the bone then. Now your pelvic bone's out, clean. Don't have to worry about it. Now I've only got 2 bones in the leg that I got to worry about when I process the deer on the table. So at this point, take the leg off. Throw it over in the ice chest, cut that, trim around this muscle right here because we're going to leave it on there. Cut these tendons back here on this back side, this side of the bone right there. Okay, here's your flat spot. 1/3 of the way up, make a cut right into that joint. Cut the outside of it like that, or inside, I guess. Yeah, the inside. Cut it like that. Use your ice chest as leverage. And just reach up inside there. Cut that off. Just like that. One deer, fully done, skinned, quartered, in ice chest, 4-inch paring knife. How easy is that? Glad y'all got to watch. Hope y'all enjoyed. Be sure to subscribe, like, comment. Give me a hard time for using ice. Doesn't bother me at all. It's how I do it. It's how I like it. But we'll see y'all on the next one. Thanks.